Good morning. Good morning. Please rise in body or spirit and join the beloved community chorus and me in singing our opening hymn, Heart Wide Open. It is not in the hymnal, but the words are on the screen. And we'll sing it through maybe 4 times, I think. Ready? 2, 3. Keep your heart wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You gotta keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. You gotta keep your heart wide open, though the waves wanna push you around. You gotta keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground.
when someone deeply listens to you, it is like holding out a dented cup you've had since childhood and watching it fill up with cold, fresh water. When it balances on top of the brim, you are understood. When it overflows and touches your skin, you are loved.
When someone deeply listens to you, the room where you stay starts a new life, and the place where you wrote your first poem begins to glow in your mind's eye. It is as if gold has been discovered. When someone deeply listens to you, your bare feet are on the earth, and a beloved land that seemed distant is now at home within you.
May the light of our chalice this morning guide our awareness of the deepest longings, needs, and intentions of our hearts, and attune our listening to the hearts of others. So welcome. Welcome to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ERUUF as we like to say. My name is Reverend Jacqueline Brett. I'm the lead minister here, and whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender identities, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey or in your search for truth and meaning and liberation, know that you are welcome here with us in beloved community. Are you okay? Are you okay? All right. I had such a, is everything all right? Are you okay? All is well, right? Okay. Or not. I'm sorry. Yes, you're welcome to be with us in beloved community, including you. You help make our community beloved. So if any of you are visiting with us for the first or perhaps even the second time, I invite you to rise in body or spirit so that we might give you an ERUUF welcome. If you are visiting for the first or perhaps even the second time, welcome to you all, and we so appreciate that you have chosen to spend your Sunday morning with us. And for those of you who are online, who are visiting with us, whether it's near in this area or far, please write your name in the chat box if you have it available to you, and someone will welcome you there as well. In future Sunday mornings, for those of you who are visiting, we have a class for visitors and newcomers that takes place at 10 a.m. right before this service. It is called the Inquirer's Class, and it allows you to get to know a little bit about us, and we can also learn a little bit about you as well. So we invite you to take that class. Childcare is available during that class for anyone who needs it. As far as what we have going on here, we are no longer taking physical supplies for Western North Carolina. It turns out they have the very good problem of having too many supplies arriving from all over the nation, and that is a good problem to have. So the current supplies that we have are being delivered. However, they are still accepting and actually need the financial resources. We actually, over this past month, I have a check that I'm giving for $10,000 collected by this congregation so far. And there's more in the queue. We just haven't counted it yet. So I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So this Sunday, we are not taking a collection up for Western North Carolina. We will resume that. This Sunday is actually a Generosity Sunday. And so I will introduce our speaker for that in a moment. I did want to let you know about Election Week at ERUUF, for those of you who may not have seen our e-news. Election Week meaning next week. I know some of you vote now, but it's for next week, the actual week of the national election. On Monday, November 2nd, we will have this sanctuary open all day long from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. for whoever might want to come in and sit quietly. Yes, what's up? The 3rd, the 4th, November 4th, Monday. Don't worry about the day, just worry about the day, not the date. But it's November 4th. Thank you, Michelle. So, but yes, you can come in this sanctuary. We'll have some soft music playing and you can sit for some quiet centering for yourself. We'll also have some stations here on the chancel where you can light a candle, you can write a prayer if you wish, or you can participate in a stone ritual. You can do one or all of those things. All day Monday. There will be worship associates present during the day as well as ministers present during the day, just inviting and holding the space for those who might want to come at any time during the day. On Tuesday, November 5th, we all know that date, right? We're actually having a watch party here at ERUUF in the evening from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the Fellowship Hall. The Board of Elections will have moved out of the Fellowship Hall, so we will come in with an election watch party. We'll put on the large television screen, and if you don't want to sit home watching this alone, know that we can watch it together. We know that there will probably, in all likelihood, not be a decision made, but we will at least be able to be in community, beloved community together, as opposed to being anxious by ourselves. So you can bring food to that gathering. You can bring something to share in terms of food to that gathering, snacks to that gathering, or beverages to that gathering. You can bring any beverage you like. However, I do ask that because this is a child-friendly event, that you bring nothing stronger than wine. And to be mindful that this is a smoke-free campus, and that includes vaping as well. So just setting some groundwork for that evening, because I know how stressed some of us will be. But we can all still gather together in a good way that accommodates all. And then on the night after the election, post-election, we will have a post-election Vesper service, a full worship service here that evening, so that we can it's called Where Do We Go From Here? And the idea is that we don't know, right? So it doesn't matter who wins. The question is still the same. Where do we go from here? So we will gather together for that. We will sing. The band will be here. We will have readings and a little homily, brief homily, I promise, Ross, from me. So anyway, but think about those things. Know that you don't have to be alone through that period. We know how stressful it is for everyone. So just consider this as a place to be. You may bring a friend, and I emphasize the word friend. These events are open to members and friends of this community. So just keep that in mind, members and friends of this community. We say all, but all who would wish us well and who are friends of this community. And so with that, I want to turn this over to our guest speaker, who for Generosity Sunday, representing Equity Before Birth, Liat Fleming Roscoe.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having Equity Before Birth present and just speak with you all today. My name is Liat, and I am the Donor and Volunteer Engagement Coordinator at Equity Before Birth. Just want to give a little background about who we are, what we do, and how we do it. So Equity Before Birth is a maternal health nonprofit organization. Our office is based here in Durham, but we serve 5 counties in the Triangle and surrounding areas. And our mission is to save the lives of Black and brown birthing people and mothers and their infants by increasing access to critical pregnancy care and support. And so we do this primarily with a financial and economic justice approach. So we eliminate any financial barriers that someone might have to needing a midwife or a car seat or breastfeeding support. We were founded in 2020. We are a very strong and tiny and mighty team of 4 staff. So we really rely and lean on our community, our volunteers, our interns. Our programs are 100% funded by donations from the community, and we've been really blessed to have so much support. To date, we have had 240 families come through our programs and touch the lives of over 500 through our advocacy initiatives and partnerships. The 3 kind of main ways that we support families are through providing direct cash assistance for essential baby items. So we think everyone should have what they need for their babies with dignity, and that if you're a mother or a birthing person, you know what your baby needs. So we're not going to necessarily just pick something that's maybe kind of broken or a hand-me-down. If you need a car seat or a crib for safe infant sleep, we're going to provide direct cash assistance for those needs. We also have a partnership with local doula and midwives. And so if you need, we know that especially for a lot of Black and brown birthing people, we know that there are really strong, unfortunately, health disparities. And by having that wraparound support of doulas and midwives is really impactful. And so just to the last way that we really work with families is through our Liberated Birth Recovery Fund. And this is where we provide a cohort of working families paid leave. Out of all the families we've ever served in this area, 6% had paid leave from their employer, which is really depressing and not okay for anyone here who has had a child or knows what it's like to have a baby. And so we give those families $2,000 of cash assistance for 3 months, as well as provide them with a cohort of other mothers and birthing people. They get financial literacy and holistic childbirth education. So it's really wonderful. And just to kind of, I guess, finish it off, which maybe I should have started there, in case any of this information is new or you're wondering, well, why do you exist? What problem are you solving? Nationally, Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes as white women. And North Carolina is nothing to brag about. Unfortunately, we have the 11th highest maternal mortality rate in the country. Black infants here die at a rate of 2.66 times of white infants. And since 2020, we've seen maternal health outcomes worsen for many people. And so that is very staggering and very depressing, but we bring a lot of joy and partnership to our work. We really want to focus on the positive stories. We've never lost an infant or a mother or a birthing person in our program. We hear all the time that stress was reduced, that people feel like they have a relationship. The families we serve don't ghost us, we stay in partnership, they show up to volunteer, they bring their babies. And so we really think everyone deserves to not only survive, but be wrapped in support and love on the babies and love on the mamas. And so just really grateful that you all felt that you wanted to hear a little bit about our work today. I will be having a table afterwards if you want to chat or grab a pen or ask any questions. So thank you all so much, and this is an amazing place. Thank you.
Now it is that time of the service. where I invite down our smallest and our mediumest and our tallest young folks. Hello. Good to see you.
I actually read that book out.
You've read this book?
And I know what happened.
You know what happens? That's excellent. I imagine there might be a few people who've read this book before. Oh, come on down, come on down, come on over, come on over. Everybody wants to sit at the back. How many people here, let's start down here, how many people down here have ever been upset about something? Yeah, now I want you all to turn around and look back there. How many of you have ever been upset about something? Yep. So a lot of the people in the room have been upset about something at some time, and that's true. This is a story about somebody who's upset, yes?
One day, I actually know what happened.
You know what happens in this story?
It's kind of silly.
It is kind of silly.
Yeah, because he made a big...
Oh, we gotta wait. We gotta let them find out. Yeah, I gotta keep the spoilers in too, right? You and I, we'll work together to keep those spoilers in. Let everybody be surprised. Okay, so here we go. One day, Taylor decided to build something.
I have a friend named...
You have a friend named Taylor. Taylor built something new in Taylor's. We wish kindness upon all Taylors in the world. That's exciting. So this Taylor built something new, something special, something amazing. Now this would take a lot of work to build, right? Especially if you built it all in one row. Yeah. Taylor was so proud. But then, out of nowhere, gasp. Things came crashing down. Has anybody else ever had things come crashing down? Yeah, me too.
Actually, I had the same story.
Yeah. Now wait, have you ever had birds come knock things down?
No.
No, I haven't either.
I just have my brothers right now.
Sorry, Silas. The chicken was the first to notice. Cluck, cluck, what a shame. I'm so sorry this happened. Let's talk about it, cluck, cluck. But Taylor did not feel like talking, so the chicken left. I'll tell you, that's the best voice I got all morning, y'all. Next came the bear. Come on down. Rawr, rawr, how horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. Rawr, rawr, rawr. But Taylor didn't feel like shouting, so the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. Drop thou, I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering, so the elephant also left. Are these bad things? Or is it bad to remember? No. Is it bad to talk about it? No. Is it bad to be upset about it? No. No, but Taylor didn't want to do those things right now. One by one they came. The hyena, hee, let's laugh about it. The ostrich, glop, let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo, tisk, tisk, what a mess, let's throw it all away. And the snake, shh, let's go knock down someone else's. But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody, so eventually they all left until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit, but it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body. Together, they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please stay with me." The rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to hide, to throw everything away, to ruin things for someone else. Through it all, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build again. I can't wait, Taylor said. Do you know what's on the last page? You can tell us?
So he makes a bigger one.
Makes a bigger one. Oh, yeah. It's going to be amazing. He's got it all planned out. So sometimes that first step to any of those things is just being around to listen. And on the back, there's a little thing. Sometimes hugs say more than words. And with that, I send you off to experience your religious exploration in future places. Bye-bye.
Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Please turn and greet your neighbor, especially those people you may not have met.
Good morning. Last Sunday, Reverend Jim spoke of deep listening, describing it, among other things, as a practice of presence. For me, that means giving my most complete attention to another without distraction or judgment, of hearing someone's voice and listening for the meaning in their silences, of validating the complexity of their unique experience. There are some in this fellowship who have honored me by joining in one-to-one risky conversations where our brave mutual exchange of our stories and deep listening transform defensive, fractious relationships into ones of caring. We learned to trust each other, even across the fragile lines of race, class, and religious differences. When I have opened myself up to the fierce challenge of deep listening, I find I am more likely to see another through the windows of my heart. And when I feel listened to, I'm inclined to drop my judgments and defenses. When we listen deeply to each other, we see that we are not so different.
So this morning for our meditation, we're going to do it together. We're going to create it together. And so what that will require is your listening to one another. So what will happen is that I will give you some opening words to a meditation, and you sit silently listening to what those words might evoke in you. And if it's something you want to say out loud, raise your hand. We have 2 greeters with mics around the room. And if more than one of you raise your hand at once, I will select one person and the greeter will bring the mic to you. And if you would say what has come to your heart out loud, I have a scribe in the back who will take your words down. And then after that person speaks, another person can do the same. And on until we are complete. Does that make sense? Okay, and if it doesn't, just follow along. It'll become apparent. So, our opening words are spirit of life, spirit of love weaving its way amongst us. From across a cavernous void, I hear. Spirit of life and love, weaving its way amongst us. Across a cavernous void, I hear. Where's our greeter on this side? We have someone here. Oh, okay. Let me select the person next time. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Judy.
Hello.
I hear flow.
Hello.
I hear hello. And there was someone here.
The peace of loving care.
The peace of loving care. Down here, please.
The calling of the suffering and of my ancestors.
The calling of the suffering of my ancestors and the suffering.
The calling of people suffering now and the call of my ancestors.
The calling of people suffering now and the call of my ancestors. You all can be included in this. And those of you in the chapel, if you have something to say, raise your hand. You also have someone right here. Let's go to this side of the room.
Music.
Music.
We will listen collectively and individually.
Say the first word.
We will listen collectively and individually.
We will listen collectively and individually.
I hear the joy of joining and belonging.
Say it again, Jamie.
I hear the joy of joining and belonging.
I hear the joy of joining and belonging. Is there someone here?
I hear love flowing for listening.
I hear love.
Flowing for listening.
I hear love flowing for listening. There's someone back here, Miss Diane, and then there will be someone on this side as well, John.
I hear connection to one another.
I hear connection to one another. Was there someone on this side?
I hear a cry for help from the earth.
I hear a cry for help from the earth. And there was someone over here. Was there someone over here? Oh, right here. We have one person here, and then one person here.
I hear a voice say, "You are safe. It is okay."
I hear a voice say, "You are safe. It is okay."
The only battle worth waging is for peace.
The only battle worth waging is for peace. Was there someone over here? Okay. Go ahead, Judith.
It's very strenuous.
Did you say growing old?
Growing old is very strenuous.
Growing old is very strenuous.
There is a distinction between hearing and listening.
There is a distinction between hearing and listening.
A yearning for commonality.
A yearning for commonality.
The whisper only the heart can hear.
The whisper that only the heart can hear. Oh, sorry.
I hear the breathing of all beings.
I hear the breathing of all beings. We have one person here.
I hear the web of life that connects us all.
Say that again.
I hear the web of life that connects us all.
I hear the web of life that connects us all.
Loving kindness.
Loving kindness.
I hear the collective quiet of listening.
I hear the collective quiet of listening. John, one more. Can you put the mic on? Okay, say that again, Addis.
I hear a desire for deeper, more authentic relationships.
I hear a desire for deeper, more authentic relationships. John, have you got it? John is writing furiously. Thank you. And so I invite you to join with me now for this moment of co-creative contemplation. Spirit of life and love weaving its way amongst us. From across a cavernous void, I hear, hello. Peace of loving care, the calling of people suffering now and the calling of my ancestors. Music. We will listen collectively and individually. I hear the joy of joining and belonging. I hear love flowing. I hear connection to one another. I hear a cry for help from the earth. I hear a voice say, "You are safe. It is okay." The only battle worth waging is for peace. Growing old is very strenuous. There is a distinction between hearing and listening, a yearning for commonality. The whisper only the heart can hear. I hear the breathing of all beings. I hear the web of life that connects us all. Loving kindness. I hear the collective quiet of listening. I hear a desire for deeper, more authentic relationships. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Each week, we also hold in our hearts the joys and concerns of this community, be they global, local, or here amongst those within these walls. This morning, we hold concerns and challenges in the global community. We hold all those affected by the ongoing conflicts in Sudan, Gaza, Ukraine, and around the world. We hold all those who are still affected by the damages from Hurricane Helene and connected storms. Here in our community today, we hold Sharon Bagatelle, whose mother, Joy Bagatelle, died on Friday, peacefully with loved ones around her. Sharon says that her mother was a great listener. She will be buried in Phoenix next week, next to her husband of 60-some years. Let us now take a breath together as we hold these concerns amidst those concerns that remain unspoken. And also, let us take a moment to hold all those joys and possibilities that lay before us in life. Let us hold those joys and possibilities that are unspoken today as we take one more breath. May we continue to share warmth throughout these moments on the journey. Amen and blessed be.
We will remain seated while we sing our meditation hymn, number 402 in your gray hymnal, From You I Receive. And the lyrics are also on the screen. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive.
That was really beautiful, wasn't it? What we created together. Is my mic on? I don't know. I can't tell. Can you all hear? So if it's not, oh, no, it's on. Okay, yeah. And if it keeps going in and out, I can use the Periscope if that's preferred by the sound team. But that was beautiful, and I will print it up. I'll get it printed up, and maybe I'll put it in a blog post next week. You all scared me for a moment. I mean, I was expecting, the first service did one of those too, and I expected a brief poem for them, and then you all didn't say anything. And I thought, oh my goodness, maybe we get no words from this room full of people. And then I thought, oh no, they're listening. It's good. The opening chapter of Durham's brilliant Dr. Alexis Pauline Gumbs' powerful book, Undrowned, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Mammals, is called Listening. At the chapter's beginning, Gumbs writes, how can we listen across species, across extinction, across harm? How does echolocation, the practice many marine mammals use to navigate the world through bouncing sounds, change our understandings of vision and visionary action? This is where we start our trans-species communion, opening a space to uplift the practice of listening even more than the practices of showing and proving and speaking up. Listening is not only about the normative ability to hear, it is a transformative and revolutionary resource that requires quieting down and tuning in. So listening is how we are asked to begin here at ERUUF as we enter into gathered community, co-creating this sacred container together during what we have set aside as intentional sacred time. It is why I ask our greeters to close the doors as we offer our opening words and lighting of the chalice, so that we can begin our time together using, as Gumbs so beautifully says, the transformative and revolutionary resource of listening by first quieting ourselves down and tuning in. I welcome you here to ERUUF on this Sunday and on other Sundays, such that if one is deeply listening into what is being said, it is all about the story of who we are and how we are going to be about who you are. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender identities, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey or in your search for truth, meaning, and liberation. These words are repeated each Sunday and sometimes at other events as well. It could be said they are rote, except that if you're deeply listening, they are actually a gateway, the entry from a place you were to perhaps, and I'd like to hope, the place you'd like to be. Or as the Cambridge Dictionary so very aptly describes, a place to which you have to go to get to another place, especially a tall and wide entrance through a wall. I think of us as just that, a tall and wide entrance through the walls many of us, or people we know or love, experience in our lives in one way or another. A gateway to a place of acceptance, of understanding, of healing, and transformative inner growth. Imperfect though we might be, and we are most often the first to admit to our imperfections, It is what we strive for and invite one another into in beloved community. So it is necessary to extend this welcome again and yet again for others and for ourselves, not so that it becomes rote, but lest we forget why we are here and what we are up to. And implicit in that welcome, to even begin to accomplish what we say we are up to, something is required of each one of us. Whether we are here for the first Sunday or the 1,000th Sunday, and there are quite a few of you who have been here for more than 1,000 Sundays. Or whether you are here in this room or online. That in order for us to even begin to be up to what we say we are up to, we begin together by listening, becoming present in our listening, tuning in to what is in the space, who we are being together, and what we are actually co-creating collectively, what it is we are doing, and what we are hoping to have as a result. And I include those of you who might be sitting alone or with one or two others in a space some distance from here as part of our collective co-creating, as you are important emissaries through your listening and how the result of what you've come to share in this space, in your space, and hold in your heart is shared in the world around you. As the elder Black feminist and activist Angela Davis has said, we have to imagine the kind of society we want to inhabit. We can't just assume that somehow magically we're going to create a new society in which there will be new beings. No, we have to begin that process of creating the society we want to inhabit right now. It is easy in these times when words get twisted every which way, so much so that they seem to turn in and against themselves, even when they are well-meaning, to believe something nefarious about Davis's words. Especially as we have come to understand that others are also imagining a society they want to inhabit, a society that would ultimately cause harm to many, including many of us sitting in this very room, and has already begun to do so. But let us fear not. Let us embrace love and courage, my friends, and imagine the kind of society we want to inhabit and work to make it so. A kind of society that in our very existence as a community, we are offering a gateway toward in our times together, that we are actually holding space for, a kind of society that is about the greatest good for all. And that kind of imagining, that depth of creating is sacred work that requires something of us. And if you're not into things being considered sacred in your view or experience of the world, know that the creation of such a society requires something of you as well, as all are welcome and needed to join in this particular project. There was a time when we did not offer our welcome in such a way, not because we were any less good as a people, but as we have listened and learned and evolved in our collective understanding and continue to do so, we have expanded the dimensions of our gateway, made it wider. We can only begin this claim of welcoming each one of us and ultimately all of us through our deep listening. When I received a request from Evelyn Studer and Carol Ann and Tunis, the leaders of our Pride Plus group here, that after what they had come to understand from their transgender awareness programs, they asked, would I consider tweaking our welcome from gender identity to instead include gender identities. It was in that listening and thus coming to understand something greater than what I knew that I expanded our welcome and our gateway a little bit wider. It was after deeply listening and many a conversation with Helen Wolfson and Eric Thomas, leaders of our non-theist group, that I came to understand the importance of making explicit in our gateway that which was implicit for some. That there are people here, beloved members of this community, who do not view themselves as being on a spiritual journey at all, but on a search for truth and meaning, which is also core to our Unitarian Universalist values. And while the spiritual journey does not preclude a search for truth and meaning, it is nonetheless also true some understand themselves to be on a search for truth and meaning that does preclude the spiritual, and that is perfectly all right. But of that spiritual journey or the search for truth and meaning, I offer the words of my colleague, the Reverend Nancy McDonald Ladd, who writes in the new book, Love at the Center, Unitarian Universalist Theologies. She writes, it takes a lot to enter into the theological enterprise, first as a learner rather than as a declarer of stuff or disprover of things. If there is one single thing I hope to accomplish in my life as a person who thinks in theological terms, she says, is to be a listener first of all, instead of a declarer. I believe, as Nancy does, that if there is one ability we might all fine-tune or accomplish together is that of becoming deep listeners. And by listening, I do not simply mean not speaking, but of tuning in with compassion and curiosity rather than assumptions, judgments, or the rush to give advice. In this past week's e-news, our Healthy Congregation Committee offered several brief but helpful tips for doing just that. Most of us here, I believe, likely understand what it feels to not be listened to, whether in being misunderstood or encountering what it means to not be given the time of day for our story, our truth to be heard. I can still feel in my very body wounds from assumptions and judgments that have been leveled my way, whether in the past or even in current times. The unsolicited advice so wonderfully illustrated in today's children's story that have been given to me by family members, friends, professional helpers, or others. So whether they intend us good or not, many of us have been taught through these experiences how to not listen to others as a result of these encounters, which is why simply being listened to is such a gift, and being responded to only if it is asked for or required. To be able to do that dance that jazz musicians do through improvisation, the result of honing not only one's musical skills, but one's listening skills as well. Kate brings this very skill to bear throughout our services. It is what I engaged in during the sacred poetry class I taught, which has little to do with the craft of writing poems and more to do with sharing one's heart and being given the very powerful gift of a listening, non-judgmental presence of 15 others who are journeying with you. It is about what we are all engaged in as we co-created today's meditation. And I believe we all know that it is far easier to listen to one another during such positive, purposeful moments created with great intention, even this very shared moment right now. But it's far more challenging to listen through our differences with one another, whether differences of opinion or an out and out conflict. It is only through great skill, honed through a committed practice and inner discipline, that we can approach such situations well. And it is because most of us have not committed ourselves to practice in good times as well as in negative times that our knee-jerk reaction is to justify turning off our listening by turning away rather than turning toward someone with curiosity and compassion. Now, I'm not talking about the times when it is wisest to turn away from clear harm for our safety. I mean the situations most of us encounter with the very people we know, and sometimes the very people we love. It is in these challenging moments, when the rubber meets the road, that we get to test the strength of who we say we are and how we say we're going to be in the world. That world we imagine we want to inhabit is not only created when we're swaying to and fro and singing hymns together. That world actually gets created through the challenges we face together. When we can trust that what we are co-creating can hold the good times as well as the challenges and conflicts that arise as we attempt to live into the high and low tides of being in relationship with one another. Our deep listening is required as we each attempt to live into our Unitarian Universalist values such that they are not diminished into mere ideas or words on a page, but are ways of being together and being in the world beyond these walls. It requires the practice of listening to one another, to the earth itself and all her beings if we are to live into the realities of interdependence. It requires the practice of listening to those who are in greatest need and face the greatest harm if we are to participate in the project of bending the moral arc of the universe ever more toward justice, a project that is worth committing ourselves to. It requires the practice of listening to those who have not been the recipients of benefits and privileges that have been unfairly constructed in the systems of our country if we are to move past notions of mere equality toward those of equity for all. It requires the practice of ongoing listening to one another without judgment if we are to become the pluralistic community we aspire to be, in which we can share and explore with one another our heartfelt beliefs. It requires the practice of listening to what is most needed amongst one another within our community here and beyond this place, if we are to unclench our hearts and hands in word, thought, and deed, and so practicing generosity in our giving of imagination, time, treasure, and compassion, knowing that we are planting seeds for the generations that shall come after us, because a place like this needs to exist long after we are no longer sitting in these pews. It requires the practice of listening, especially when we feel challenged, both here and outside of here, that we live into the possibility of transformation taking place both in our own person and in the persons and world around us. And finally, it requires the practice of listening, because when someone listens deeply to you, it's like holding out a dented cup you've had since childhood and watching it fill up with cold, fresh water. When it balances on top of the brim, you are understood. When it overflows and touches your skin, you are loved. May we all offer and receive this love. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so. It takes so very much to create what we have here, this beloved community. It takes our time, our talent, our imagination, our love, and our treasure. This morning, our offerings will go to Equity Before Birth. What a wonderful organization Liat described to us. And so if the greeters come forward, if you do not have anything to put into the collection pouches, feel free to point your device at the QR code on the screen, and it will lead you to our giving portal. In the giving portal, just go to the drop down that says Generosity Sunday. You may also, were you raising your hand, Miss Joan? Oh, okay. Can you point her back this way? And if you can't, for some reason, do that whole giant QR code on the screen, there's also some cards in the pew racks. You can point your devices to those QR codes, or you can just go into the office after the service and someone will be able to assist you.
The song we're about to sing is, in some ways, an invitation or an opportunity for you to practice deep listening. We're going to sing 4 lines from 4 different spirituals, one at a time, and then we're going to sing them all at the same time. And it's an opportunity to listen for the interplay of those 4 melodies, different melodies, how they interact together, and the resultant harmonies.
Joshua fought the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fought the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. How long, how long, how long must we cry in vain? Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. March when the Spirit says to march around. I'm gonna shout when the Spirit says shout. And watch the walls come tumbling down. I'm gonna sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
We give thanks for all of the gifts that we receive in this beloved community, the gifts of one another, the gifts of our listening or learning to listen to one another in good times and difficult times, and the gift of our music. Wendy?
Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing Over My Head, hymn number 30 in the gray hymnal. We'll sing verses 1, 2, and 4, and the words are on the screen. Over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. There must be a God somewhere. Over my head, I hear singing in the air. Over my head, I hear singing in the air. Over my head, I hear singing in the air. There must be a God somewhere. Over my head, I feel gladness in the air. Over my head, I feel gladness. I feel gladness in the air. Over my head, I feel gladness in the air. There must be a God somewhere.
Our closing words are from the poem from the poem Counsels by Marge Piercy. I would invite you to face forward. I came back here intentionally, and you'll find out why in a moment. Just don't look at me. Just look at each other's heads or something. Marge writes, and we must sit down and reason together. We must sit down. Perhaps we should sit in the dark. In the dark, we could utter our feelings. In the dark, we could propose and describe and suggest. In the dark, we could not see who speaks, and only the words would say what they say. Thus saying what we feel and what we want, what we fear for ourselves and each other into the dark. Perhaps we could begin to listen. Perhaps we should talk in groups small enough for everyone to speak. Perhaps we should start by speaking softly. The women must learn to dare to speak. The men must bother to listen. The women must learn to say, I think this is so. And the men must learn to stop dancing solos on the ceiling. After each speaks, she or he or they will repeat a ritual phrase. It is not I who speaks, but the wind. Wind blows through me. Long after me is the wind. Go in peace, go in love, go in your deepest listening. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.